What up, everybody? Jackson here today with my little brother Chubbz.
Hello, everyone.
Today we're going to be talking about the downfall of Battleborn, and this is something we both have witnessed since the technical test, which I'm going to have a playlist of all the Battleborn videos we've done on our channel since its release. And that's going to be on my front page if you want to click on it and watch it. If you're someone who loves Battleborn as much as me and wants to experience this position that me and Chubbz both find ourselves in, where we loved something so much, but we wanted it to fail. And in the end, we're glad it failed. Even though it's something we loved, we played a lot of. To this day, I would say Battleborn is my top 5 favorite games of all time. 100% my favorite MOBA, team-based shooter, fucking competitive shooter, like, period. It's my favorite.
Right, yeah.
I picked up the paddle, and with my experience with Borderlands and MOBAs, was immediately good with it. You were as well. We figured out the crystals really fast, the tower defense aspects of the game.
The jungle camps.
Yes, exactly. Take the camp, spawn an enemy, or spawn that same enemy to head out for you.
To push through the lane.
Which is an awesome way to get a jungle buff instead of a passive buff that buffs your character. Instead of that, it's like, okay, you take this jungle camp, and then that jungle camp fights for you.
Yeah,
pushes your lane.
They had a bunch of different unique aspects like that.
They really did, and they had the multiple different game modes, like the meltdown mode, which was feed the minions to minwreck, push the minions to the fucking point, and then it slowly went back farther, and the farther it back, the other team had more defensive turrets and things that they could have built if they took the time to do that and spent the shards to do that, took the time to pick up the shards, understood this. Most people didn't understand this.
No.
It was apparent in the technical test, it was apparent in the beta. We did not start losing until well after the release of Battleborn, and the player base that was going to be there we're all fairly good at it, because and we're just going to be talking about our opinions here, and our opinions are probably going to piss off some people and run counter to your opinions. If that's something that happens, you don't feel the need to take it personal. I'm not being personal when I say that I think Overwatch is an infinitely weaker game than Battleborn, but also a stronger game, because the majority of gamers are stupid.
Okay,
it's so hard to put delicately, but goddamn it, there's a reason that Overwatch won in the war between Battleborn and Overwatch. There's 2 fucking reasons, okay? Let's just get those out on fucking Front Street before we move forward. Let's talk about the 2 reasons Overwatch won out over Battleborn. Accessibility and nefarious loot boxes.
Yep.
Nefarious loot boxes that are built and patented in a way to the entire drive of the game's progression system sends you to a loot box. Sends you to a loot box. A fucking system so nefarious that it has been confirmed that several influencers, other words, YouTubers, otherwise known as, I'm sure, Booging2988, I would say he definitely got this deal with Blizzard, but they worked out a deal where these streamers had better drop chances with legendary skins and legendary fucking voice packs and legendary tags and legendary fucking garbage. They had,
cosmetics.
yes, if they opened these loot boxes and promoted them on their streams and on their channels. So your Sniper Girl fucking Triple X or whatever the fuck, that chick definitely had a deal. If you look at these fucking things and they got millions of views and they're constantly opening these loot boxes and you can see legendaries happening over and over and over again at the rate that a normal hapless moronic fucking individual who's dumping hundreds of thousands of millions of billions of fucking dollars into these microtransaction skins and loot boxes per year into this fucking overbloated industry, and then crying when this overbloated industry has to cut the fat because you junkies decided to pick up another fucking habit. Right? That fucking industry, there's a reason that those people were getting those way more often. That's why we start off with the legendary skin. Because Blizzard gave them better drops to promote the shit. To weak-minded children and moronic motherfuckers over the age of 30 who want to be hip and cool in gaming.
Yep.
So that's why Overwatch won. That, and it had a fucking fraction of the depth of Battleborn.
Oh yeah, that's the second point. But the first point is accessibility, which we were talking about this, where the average Joe, you know, someone who's not really good at competitive games, it's easier for them to pick up a game like Overwatch than Battleborn.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%.
Because Overwatch, what did they do? They said, well, we don't have a lot of content. We have like one game mode and a couple of maps, but we have all of these different characters. So let's just make it when you buy it, you have all these characters on lock. And then when you hop in a game, that character doesn't change. And the more you play that character, the better you're going to do. And even if you're not that good at competitive games, the time to kill is a lot more like Call of Duty or Team Fortress, where it's like, kill really quick, get that adrenaline, get that feeling of like, I'm a
There's
badass.
also the whole entire aspect of levels and XP being earned throughout a match. The closest thing Overwatch comes to accomplishing this is with the super being something that has to charge over the course of the match.
Right.
And it's going to come slow, but if you're not getting kills, but if you're a strong player, it's going to give you a definite edge over all the weaker players. And that's what Overwatch and Blizzard have always done very competitively. Like, the best. I would argue some of the best. If you want balance, you know, that works on a level where, like you said, an average Joe can step in. Eventually, he's going to get his super. He's going to feel like a badass when his super charges and he gets, you know, the supers are such that it's very hard not to get at least 1 or 2 kills with them. You have, but on top of that, you have that end game competitive play that can happen with the game where if you're a strong first person player, and not only that, you're a stronger, let's say, Winston player, you're going to get your super far more often, and you're going to be able to decimate the team far more often than the enemy who's, you know, playing the same character if they're a weaker player. So they do that. There is that skill gap, but that's it. It's like you get two abilities.
To step in.
Yeah, you get 2 abilities, and at a certain point, this one's going to charge one way or another. It's like the Call of Duty drops. The supply drop.
Yeah, the kill streaks.
Yes, it's like you have these kill streaks that are for the strong player, that the strong player like a B. Dobbins can get, you know, 10, 15 times in a match. Yeah. Oh, 10 kills to get that, that's fine. Boom, boom, boom. The average Joe is not going to be able to get 10 kills in a row every match, right? They're not going to be able to pull that off. That's the percentage of the player base that's going to be able to do that and get those is very small. So they come up with this ingenious thing where I think it's only like 3 or 4, like, it's below 5 for sure, but the care package drop, the one I'm thinking of, the one I'm more familiar with is in Call of Duty Black Ops 2. That's the one I played the most. But that supply drop, it can drop the times 15 kill streaks, right? And it's this way of balancing the game for the casual average player who's stepping into the game. And it's already incredibly hard to do that in a game like Call of Duty. That's a franchise that has been, you know, it's ingrained in the fucking, you know, everyone knows what Call of Duty is.
For years.
Yes, it was, they bought promotions on The Office. There was like an entire office that was basically an entire ad for Call of Duty, right? Oh, yeah. So Call of Duty is known, and it's a way to give in, you have people who've played this since its inception over and over again. This is their multiplayer game. This is the multiplayer game that they want to play, and I can understand that. I can feel it, dude. Like, I can. I wish that I had a game that was living and breathing that was that for me. For me, it's Battleborn, and it's dying.
Right, yeah.
They're pulling the plug on that shit.
Oh, yeah.
But that's... Battleborn does not have anything like this.
No.
You are either going to figure it out, and you're going to be good at it, and you're going to understand how it works, and the nuance of a match, the back and forth dance that is the XP struggle, the feed, the farm, hitting the camps, doing things as required in the order they're required to be done, and doing them well, better than the other team. And when that happens, you would run into these people, especially during the beta. Not so much in the technical test. I feel like the technical test, there was a little more competition. It felt like that was more of a...
People understood.
people were interested in Battleborn, and they were strong Borderlands players, because that's another thing. Borderlands is not an easy game to step into and play.
No.
It is not. You have to do a fair amount of playing in the Borderlands, and I would say from 1 to 3 this holds true. One of those games you would have had to spend a fair amount of time in before you got to the point where you could understand what was happening on your screen.
Yeah.
Right? Before you could get to the point where you're like, okay, there's enemies here, 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 and I need to shoot them.
Yep.
And you're able to look in that direction, see the motherfucking enemy, and shoot the enemy.
Yep.
Like, this is not Destiny.
No.
It's not very scripted, very, what do you call it? Corey, what do you call the moves? Telegraphed. It's more
not
subtle.
like these big giant targets that are there for you to hit in a specific
with
spot.
giant glowing hit points for crits and shit.
That's the thing, is it's like more camouflaged in, and there's a lot more like you have to pay attention to get the kills in a game like Borderlands, because like you said, it takes a while before you see and understand what's happening. And to this point, playing Borderlands 3, the one thing that I want to bring up real quick is when I'm playing Flak and I have him my pet radiated and they're on a guy meleeing them.
Yeah.
I'm hitting them and I don't even see them.
Yeah, because they're buried.
I just know that they're there because I see the damage numbers and my pet's there. Yeah. So I'm just going to shoot at my pet.
Well, just, it's something you get the feel for. And that, and there's a lot of effects in Borderlands that can obscure the vision. There's a lot of effects in Battleborn that can do the same.
Oh, yeah.
The difference is having a keen awareness and being able to multitask what's on screen with your mini-map.
Yes.
Being able to jump back and forth between that, and also being able to distinguish in the environments what's an enemy and what's other things. Right? And most people can't do this. Like, Mario was over here, he was watching me play Borderlands 3, and he was like, how do you know what's going on? I can't tell. And I'm like, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I first was playing Borderlands, my first game in the Borderlands series that I played was Borderlands 2. And I was playing 0. And it was frustratingly difficult to get through that game. Mm-hmm. It was really fucking hard. Like, I felt it was I was like, this is almost unfair. Bordering on unfair. But then I started to get it.
Right.
And then I started to get it a little more. And then I started to get it a little more. And it was a lot harder than Destiny, which by the third mission, I was just, okay.
Yeah.
I get this. This is awesome.
Yeah, just kill everything. Wipe it all. Yeah.
And I loved it. I still think Destiny has a very strong bit of fucking game there.
Oh, yeah. It has really strong aspects to the very first game, I would say.
Yes. And what Destiny 2 did was it took away any of those complexities that could even be distinguished. It said, we don't trust our player base to understand builds or how to figure out a build. We're just going to give them this tree, and as you level up, you fill it up. Like Assassin's Creed style. Why not? With less variety, because there's only 2 options here instead of 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So that's the thing with fucking... That's what Destiny does better. And what is Destiny? It's one of the most viewed games on Twitch.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the top downloaded games of fucking Steam in that month of this year. Ever. It's had a huge, strong release. Why? Because, sorry, this world is dumb, and people do not understand complexity and do not want it. People do not want to be intellectually challenged. That's why when you present arguments in a fucking well-constructed, thoughtful 30, 40-minute video... your shit does not get viewed. Your average view duration is the first 6 minutes. And then after that, you fucking get tanked and put behind, right? Because your shit is thoughtful. You're thinking about this. And you're presenting yourself in a way as such that it's hard to rebut what's being said. So people, they downclick, they walk away. Yep. They downclick and they walk away. Not one single thoughtful, presentable... the fucking argument put forth to defend any of these other games that are simply microtransaction fucking machines. I mean, if you're getting a fucking loot box when you level up in Destiny 2, and you're getting a fucking end game badass perk point in Borderlands 3, right? There's 2 entirely different systems at work here. But then you look at Battleborn.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And that's why I take Battleborn and I compare it to Overwatch.
Yes. Well, and it's because they were team arena shooters, and a lot of people mix them up together, and people say that Overwatch is the reason why Battleborn failed. I think that only part of that is true. I think that the reason why Battleborn failed is because Overwatch was a lot more accessible for people, easier for them to step into, whereas if you're stepping into Borderlands, what are you doing?
Battleborn.
Battleborn, sorry.
It's okay, it happens.
Yeah.
I will do it myself at least once.
Oh, yeah. But you step into it, and you're looking at all these characters, and you don't have all of them unlocked for $60,
yeah.
which is horseshit, by
and
the
it's
way.
taking way too long. Like, I remember it took me like a whole, 14 hours
to
or
get them all
something
unlocked.
No, Master 1.
Like, I think you had to beat the entire campaign.
Yes, you did.
Plus do separate stuff.
Saboteur was pretty much unbeatable.
Yeah. But you
when
had
it
to
first
do
came
the...
out.
I think...
And that was incredibly frustrating because we did that with Cass and Trev and Chris and me and you. We had a full 5-man team, and we did it over and over and over again that one day. I think we did it like 4 or 5 times, and we could not do it.
No.
The next update that came out fixed it.
Yep.
It buffed the health, and it added a couple of turrets, I'm pretty sure. Something like that.
Right.
And that being locked behind, and you're unlocking credits.
And it's $60.
Yes, and like these credits is how you're getting the gear, which is going to help you in the online PvP.
Right. Which,
so there's this PvE aspect that's having to take place. Gear rewards are being divvied out at the rate of a free-to-play game.
Oh, yeah.
And this was our concern with the beta.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when we were playing the beta, we were talking like, man, are they going to sell these fucking coins?
Yeah.
Why are they being so fucking stingy with these
Well,
coins?
another thing that I wasn't unsure about during the beta, which I really had hope for, was the cohesiveness and replayability of the story.
Yes.
Which up to that point in the pre-post release, from how it sounded, each character would have a unique storyline, and you wouldn't have to have people. It would put bots in the game with you.
Well, the very game's campaign on release to this day that you play sets you up for that with that thought.
Yeah.
It starts you off as Melka. You're doing things that are strictly Melka centered. Like, you can use your one ability to leap into the air and your other one to dash forward, and you can reach this higher, and it's like, okay, I get it.
Right.
And you're going, and you think at that point, you're like, and you're thinking, because we had followed this since the Game Informer front page of Game Informer.
Oh, yeah.
I was into this idea. A MOBA built by the dudes who made Borderlands.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in.
Oh, yeah.
I'm fucking head over heels in.
Oh, yeah.
When can I play it and where can I play it?
Yeah.
And to this day, I can't get into any other multiplayer online shooters.
It ruined it for it.
Because it's too fun.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I said, this nuanced back and forth dance that's happening in the action, and like,
well, because
the way that they captured that, because that's in every MOBA. That's in Smite, League of Legends, Dota, everything. It's a dance and force, a subtle dance, resource management. It's going back to the Warcraft 3, and that you got to be building you got to know what you're doing. And at the time that you can do it, it must be getting done.
Yes.
Because you have to assume that your opponent knows what to do. And at the moment it needs to be getting done, he's doing it.
Yep.
And it goes beyond, I saw him first, I shot him 5 times, he's dead now.
Yeah.
It goes beyond that. And I'm not saying that there isn't a place for that as well.
Well, there are games that are like that. And that's where I think that a lot of people didn't really care for Battleborn, is because it does take a lot more inspiration from MOBAs, where it's like, you're not supposed to get every kill.
But in the beta,
when you see somebody, you're not necessarily supposed to kill them. Depending on your role and character, your role might be just doing enough damage that somebody else can get the kill.
Yeah.
And in a game like Battleborn or Smite or League of Legends, where it's more strategic, a lot of people don't understand this. They just go gung-ho, fuck it, and then...
That's what I was... in the beta, you could spot those people.
Yeah.
And we were on the beta on the PlayStation 4, and you could spot these people who did not understand, because they would be level 2s. Mm-hmm. You would be level 6 with your super.
Oh, yeah.
And they would be coming...
They're not killing anything.
They're coming right at you.
Oh, yeah.
They're not trying to farm XP off the minions. They're not trying to, go back and get crystals to get a piece of their gear built.
Nope.
Or build something else to get a little XP, build a tower to get some XP, build take a jungle camp, send a jungle camp out to get some XP, doing nothing. They're just level 2s. off of the XP their team has been gathering for them.
Yep.
And they're coming right at you.
Yep.
And now this is doomed everyone else on that team. Because now we're getting that kill and assist, that kill and assist, that kill and assist. And we're fucking getting fat off of power. And we've been doing our jobs and hitting jungle camps and sending them out there. And their first spider turret is down. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And that was apparent. And you could tell that people were getting mad. There were people quitting left and right when we were playing against them.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't until the game released that it found the competitive player base.
Like people
small
who
though
it
it may
clicked. It clicked. They were
like non-existent on PC, it may be, but on the PS4, there was a lot of people who understood what this was and loved it for what it was.
Right.
However, of those people, I think it was few and far between that were excusing the skins being put in, with a premium currency being added in a $60 fucking game that already felt like a free-to-play title on the unlocks with gear, coins, fucking unlocking characters. It was legitimately like a $60 open access beta for a fucking MOBA.
Yep.
That's what it was. And it should have been $30.
Which, because you can say, well...
And it should have been what it was. And
that's the biggest problem with it is... Another thing is a lot of people who did get into it were fans of Borderlands, and Borderlands has a cohesive story. Borderlands 1, the story is very minimal, you actually have to read it, and then Borderlands 2, they went with more presentations and cutscenes with Handsome Jack, but at the same time, it's overall cohesive, and then you step into a game like Battleborn coming from that.
Yeah.
And it's like, now you're with Boulder, and now you're doing this experiment.
But it starts off in, like, for instance, Nova is a part of the ship.
Yeah.
But then you don't get her until you take out the Guardian on mission, like, 5. But she's there for missions 1 through 4.
Yeah, now she's a villain.
And now it's going to tell us her backstory. And it's like, why wasn't this just before this? And it starts out with Melka. And it's like, Melka can do things that other Battleborn can't do.
Yeah.
Use these to take advantage of the environment. And you're like, what?
And, like, it
honestly felt... And here's the thing, though. And I was trailing into this. I was playing it, and I was like, if this is not a valid game, then why is Vermintide a valid game? Why is Left 4 Dead a valid game? Outside of mods. Remove all the mods. And I know that it's hard to do that for this, because you really can't.
Right.
But to be fair, let's just say the Left 4 Dead mods wouldn't exist if Left 4 Dead didn't exist to begin with, right?
Right.
So... why is that a valid purchase of a game? Why is that a game? Why is Killing Floor and Killing Floor 2 a game? You know what I mean?
Right.
And so to me, when you look at Battleborn for what it is, and if you fucking could get rid of these microtransactions, because you can't get rid of them. They're there. They're not for purchase anymore. Pretty soon you couldn't even spend what you already have. But they're there. They were there very, very early on, before the winter update, which polished out most of the bugs and imbalances in the game. Before that, they pushed into it these skins for premium currency price. It felt very just unfucking earned in a game that had a $60 fucking asking price and a $15 season pass.
Yes.
It felt like, hey, hold on. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Is this... And if it had been, here's early access. It's $30. You get the story, what we have right now. You know, you can buy the rest of the story and more things for $30 more. So like $60 altogether.
Right.
What it was.
Right.
Essentially. You would have got your money, but there wouldn't have been these hard feelings every time this game became more apparent. And then when the winter update comes out, they say, you're our founders. They call us founders, which from where I was and where I am, you don't get to call me a founder.
No.
Okay? I will be a founder for your game if it is labeled early access.
If it is honest.
Yeah, if it's honest and it says this is still in development.
If I'm aware I'm a founder before the fact and not after the fucking fact.
I bought Smite when it was in beta. I bought fucking Paragon, a bunch of shit in Paragon when it was in beta. Yeah. I bought fucking early access Fortnite to play its story mode.
Right.
You know, fucking try that out. I got my $40 worth of it. I wasn't angry in any of those games for having microtransactions.
Nope.
I wasn't angry in any of those games for having loot boxes and fucking things that could only be attained through hella in-game grind or buying a premium currency. I gave no fucks. I understood that because every single one of those games said, this is a free-to-play game that's in early access. If you want early access to this title, and I understood, oh, well, it's a business model that I can respect.
Yes.
Make some money off of it while you're finishing it.
While you're polishing it.
Use me to balance your game. I don't mind. These aren't things that I mind. I don't mind updates to games if the content's there, if the entertainment value is there.
Right.
I'll take balances. I'll take fixes. I'll take bugs. I'll take all that shit. As long as you're telling me that I should expect them. Because it's early access.
Yes.
And Battleborn never once did that.
At all.
And then it put the microtransactions in that didn't even have a way to be earned. These were only skins you could buy.
Yep.
And they were cool. They were visually the best looking skins in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Period. They were objectively the deep skin for fucking Boulder.
Yeah.
Is better than any version of him in the base game. It makes him a tentacled like Cthulhu monster.
Yeah.
It's cool as fuck. And like that's the thing. That was my problem. And it felt like Borderlands, where they have these in Borderlands 2, where they have these premium accent skins or premium gauge skins. You know, they have these. It doesn't feel insulting to me because it also has a fucking like 40-hour campaign.
Yeah.
With more. If you fucking do everything, if you go for completionists.
If you go for endgame farming.
Yeah, if you go for the endgame farm, the endgame loot farm that's there and fun.
Yep.
It's like, it doesn't bother me. But you release this game that has, you know, like 12 characters or some such amount. Less, probably. It had a very small roster that was playable to begin with.
Yeah, all of it was blocked.
And at the end of the day, I can understand what you were doing. You were putting what content you had and the understanding that you needed to get people ready for this. So introduce them to like Oscar Mike first. Right. And then give them like a Boulder or someone later. I get it. You know, slow unlocks.
Right.
Let them get them and play them and have some time with the characters because there's a lot of entertainment value there. Right?
Have the story mode because this is a very competitive game. You can get your ass kicked very easily. Yes. So play the story mode. Get a feel for the characters, the progression. Understand like building turrets and taking down minions and all of that shit because all of that is part of the story. You know
rank up some characters, unlock these alternate helix trees.
Yep. Kill these bosses, get some loot off of them, build a gear loot or a loot box.
But when I was playing Smite for free, it was the same shit. And then I gave them $30, and I have every character in that game even to this day.
Yep.
Over a dozen that I've never played or seen in action. I own them. They're mine.
Yep.
And that's and it's the thing about it when you look at it, and that's why I think they had this outlook, is they have something so goddamn special here. When if you consider that Vermintide is a valid game, which in my opinion it is, and that sort of gameplay, like Killing Floor, fucking Left 4 Dead, all of that, loop it all together, then Battleborn story mission in concert with its PvP modes of the fucking, you know, all the different variety, Meltdown, Incursion, there's fucking so many even now. There's some that I've never even been able to play because there's just the player base isn't there to get in a match.
Yeah.
So when you consider all of that in a $160 package, it's valid. It earns the $60. But then you take in, oh, well, you can now buy fucking command points.
Yep.
So that's why when in the fucking beta, when we did our video, I was like, here's my concern. Are they going to sell these? Because it feels like they're going to fucking sell these with how stingy they're being with these. This feels like Smite, and I'm unlocking crystals in Smite.
Legit, yeah. Like
this feels like League of Legends, and I'm unlocking whatever bullshit crystals were in that game.
Every event, you get like 5. And
Here's
you're
a
like,
bonus.
Cool, thanks.
A bonus.
I will get nothing.
It's because psychologically there's dumb fucks that are like, oh look, I have 15 and I only need 25, so if I buy it...
Oh, but I can only buy them in
and
increments
these mathematicians,
of 20.
yeah, these mathematicians have like seriously worked out this math so that you always got left over.
Yeah.
Like you always have left over of this bullshit currency because it's a psychological pull.
Yep.
Because some psychiatrist did a fucking experiment on a pigeon and it works with humans. And that makes me so goddamn depressed. I can't even tell you. It really fucking does.
It does.
When I see games like Overwatch raise in dominance and a game like fucking Battleborn that has this subtlety, this back and forth, this depth and layered intricacy to the gameplay, and I see that it's got, even if you just take into account its progression, it's way better. There's loot that you need to farm in order to get better, shit that you can build in PvP. And it's balanced fairly because the better the loot, the more crystals it costs, which is a massive sacrifice to not only the player, but also their entire team. Is it worth building that expensive piece of gear in PvP?
To make you more overpowered?
It's going to help
you build that turret?
Or should you build the turret, or upgrade that turret, or build the speed buff, or what.
Because that's going to help us clear the lane. That's
going
to be helpful.
It's balanced. It's layered. It's deep.
Oh, yeah.
It's too complex for the fucking average pigeon. That's like, but I have 15 over, and if I just buy 7 more, then I'll have fucking enough to get that fucking guy. And then they make the same rationalization the next time they get paid. And they create this situation where I'm fucking so sad that Battleborn is dead, that it's dying. But after playing Borderlands 3, I'm so grateful it died.
Yep.
I'm grateful that it did not succeed.
Because what is Blizzard doing after Overwatch?
Overwatch 2.
Yep. Overwatch 2 and
Diablo 4.
Warcraft 3 Reforged is going to have cosmetics, microtransactions.
Skins in every fucking goddamn new release. Why?
Diablo 4, they have mounts. How much you want to bet they
they're
fucking
gonna
sell
have
those?
cosmetics for sale.
I bet they sell the mounts.
I saw within the same news week an article that said Diablo 4 will have fucking cosmetic microtransactions, followed by an article a couple of days later that said Diablo 4's endgame is not completely ironed out yet. Well, we see where Blizzard's fucking priorities are. Why are they there? It's because Bobby Kotick's the CEO of Activision and capitalism is evil.
It's because
That's why. No, it's because you goddamn gamers are fucking stupid. That's fucking why. Sorry to be the one to break it to you, but that's fucking why.
Mm-hmm. It's sad to say it, but Overwatch and games like that and seeing the trends in American consumer market, especially just American consumer market.
And I love these fucking little bitches that are on Destiny's video defending Destiny and saying that, it's okay that they sell exotic guns in Korea because those people are whales. But you don't understand, like, the stuff they sell here, it's not pay to win. So it's okay. Don't you understand? And I'm not a whale, okay?
I'm not a whale.
Those Koreans are whales, and I'm not a whale.
I fucking don't spend fucking $500.
Yeah, microtransaction loot boxes are just fine as long as they don't offer a fucking playing advantage to the payer.
Yeah.
Really? I think they fucking should. I think if you're dumping more money into a game, you should get more power. Yeah. Or more something, right?
You should get something out of it. No. Something that's gonna matter.
Instead, these fucking morons are spending billions a fucking year on Fortnite for fucking skins.
It's because it's legit, dude. It's like the American consumer market.
But they're whales in Korea. They're fucking whales.
But the American consumer market definitely proves that. You know what I mean? When you have these games coming out which are just like watered down, homogenized versions of the genre that they're supposed to be, or they're oftentimes trying to tag it in with like 6 other fucking genres because, well, they did something that's fucking...
It's got it, Well, it's like, look at this new Star Wars game.
Yeah.
It's a Metroidvania, Dark Souls, fucking action RPG, God of War-like, fucking blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
With Jerome as the mocap actor. I'm fine. That sounds like a giant pile of shit.
And just in case anybody's
look at the new
curious, we don't care about Gotham. We hate Gotham. We fucking, oh my God.
I do not think Gotham is worth my time. I don't even want to even talk about it right now.
No.
Like, it's not even worth it.
That's just, when you say Jerome, that's like why we laugh, because it's that kid. And oh my God, that guy hams it up. It's like the fucking voice actress for the girl in Fallout 4.
I just watched...
It's like every voice line is...
We watched like 10 minutes of that first episode of Gotham, and I was like, man... Sometimes I just wish I was a 15-year-old girl. Maybe then I could find some enjoyment in this world.
I like it.
Because this fucking show is dumb as fuck. Catwoman's there? What?
And they're getting murdered?
Jerome?
Again?
Jerome. So hold on, is he the Joker? No. He's Jerome. Okay.
I don't understand what...
Isn't that what that pretentious chick fucking Jerry dated and Jerry in Seinfeld called him?
Jerome, yeah. Jerome.
It was either him, or fucking George that was dating
Isn't that his real name on the show? Like, or
Jerome?
Is that just what they call him?
No, it's like she was pretentious. That was like... It was like... It's pretentious. Like... Jerome? Like, it was like some rich hottie-dottie, like, upper class, like... Basically retarded snob.
Like the Ritz.
yeah.
Fucking ritzy chick.
Like, Jerome. I can't remember. Jerome. It's been too long. I just remember someone calling Jerry Jerome. And she was like that type of lady.
Some reason
she was funny.
For some reason I have a scene of Elaine doing it to him to be a sarcastic ass.
Maybe
like
she
calling
did
him Jerome, you know what I mean?
Do it to him too.
Just
to make fun of her.
Yeah, just like to jab him, you know what I mean?
Was it that chick George dated that was like the papier-mâché artist? My papier-mâché. Papier-mâché. I can't remember if it was her or not, but it was that type of a character, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that show's brilliant. Anyway, at the end of the day, I'm sad Battleborn is getting the axe. I think that I truly genuinely believe if you had held off and you had released what you have now without the microtransaction junk, or with the microtransaction junk, if you had waited and held off, and let's say that you could collectively wipe Battleborn from the memory of the internet, of the world, it never had released, and you took that same product today, as it stands today, with the ops, even the microtransactions, and you took that and you threw it on Epic's Game Store, and you said, this is a $30 early access Battleborn, it's like Overwatch, but way different, it's kind of like fucking Smite and Paladins, but way different, you check it out, it's kind of like a Team Fortress 2, it's kind of like a fucking tower defense, you know, it's got that built into it. It's got some League of Legends elements. It's got some Overwatch style characters that are more charismatic and funny and visually distinguishable, and like your actual HUD and, you know, your screen changes based on them. When you're playing the big dude, what's his name?
Atticus.
And
you got that one fist.
And it's got not killing my own kind.
And he's got the wolvie claws and the fucking, when you pop you like hit him and shit.
You feel like you're a big badass Tim Curry legend demon punching a motherfucker in the face with a robotic arm.
Oh yeah, you do.
Feel like that. There's weight to those punches.
Oh yeah.
When you're playing Wrath, you feel like a ninja samurai from fucking outer space.
Oh yeah.
Who's like quasi-vampire. It's like...
Borderlands has been... And that's why it's sad, is because it's so fun, and we absolutely love it, but at the same time, it was handled very poorly, and we think that that is ultimately the downfall of it, is because it's easier to step into a game like Overwatch other than Battleborn, especially where Battleborn has all these nefarious tactics like locking the characters off and doing this weird shit, you know what I mean?
I want to talk about this because I think it needs to be talked about. There's a lot of question of who's to blame for the business model, the release, everything. It has to do with Battleborn. And here's the thing. All I'm going to say is when I look at Borderlands 1, 2, 3, and then I look at Battleborn, especially Borderlands 3, most especially, when I look at those two games, I see Borderlands having nothing in common with games like Overwatch, with games like Fortnite, with games like, I mean, pick your flavor of the week.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. I don't know, this new one, I think they might be shifting gears. I haven't
With
heard...
Borderlands 3? Or,
no, with
or
Call
of
of
Duty?
From what I've heard, like, here's the thing. They got fucking crazy.
I just mean that time to kill type shit. You see it in Counter-Strike.
I'm talking about, like, I'm mostly talking about business model.
Oh, okay.
Okay, like, because, and even
like
then,
the
yes,
business
like
model
Call of
of
Duty,
these
yes,
games, yeah.
even in that aspect, I would say that about Borderlands 3 gives you way more bang for your buck with this, the $60 asking price.
Oh, yeah.
Than the Call of Duty game. If you're someone who's not interested in Call of Duty, if you're interested in Call of Duty, like, it's probably got definite more bang for your buck.
Oh, yeah.
And from what I've heard over there, they're pivoting.
Oh, really?
Which is interesting, because Bungie, since they've left Activision, are now selling level boosts and all sorts of extra shit and having events that all revolve around event-exclusive event items that you have to get and fucking through randomization and then upgrade with these loot boxes and currencies and microcurrencies that you have to trade in to microcurrencies, and then you get more microcurrencies, right? It's fucking interesting that now that they're done with Activision, they're doing that. But Activision now with the latest Call of Duty has removed randomized loot boxes and instead have adopted more Fortnite-friendly style battle pass system. Which that's the thing about battle passes. I have zero problem with that shit, right? Because it's saying like you still have to play to unlock this stuff. And then you don't even have to buy it if you're not going to unlock it. If you feel like you're not going to play it enough to unlock all this, don't buy it.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's still like, it tells you this is what you're getting. I'm sure, I don't know about Fortnite, but I'm sure some battle passes give you, I know the ones in Paladins do.
Right.
Where they give you chests.
Right.
Which is all about that psychological pull to the randomization to get those people.
The loot boxes.
Yeah, they're built to get people that are susceptible to
the casino.
Yep.
Step up to the casino. We got hookers and blackjack in here. Got
Never
whiskey.
see so many titties in your life.
You're 12 years old. You got a sippy cup of whiskey now.
Yep. Here you go, bud. Stand up and play. Give it a pull. Go ahead.
You want a cigar?
Listen, you little jerk. I got a 44-year-old woman. She'll suck your dick off. Just play it 4 more times. Okay, okay, kid. For some reason, he's got Dom DeLuise's mustache in my brain.
For some reason, he's dressed up like a mafioso.
Yeah, but here's the kicker. It's Dom DeLuise's mustache when he played the cat in Five Goes West.
Where it's part of his mouth.
He looks like he stepped off the fucking casino planet. One of those fucking weird looking creatures.
Fucking and Canto Bite.
Yeah. He's like, no, listen, we left Activision. We're good now. Buy this level boost. It only takes you 2 hours to do it. That's because we want to make it something that nobody would really want to buy and that you can scoff at to defend it. But really, we know that there's people stupid enough to do it because we also got a book for sale called Cooking with Destiny. You want some more lock lasagna?
More lock lasagna? You want Cade's noodle cup? Do you have a cup of noodles? No? You don't get it, kid.
I'll get a cup of noodles. You put it in the microwave for 1.5 minutes. Put some water in there. You open it up. You got Cade's noodle cup.
Get a marker. Get a marker. You put Cade's noodle cup on it.
You gotta draw this guardian symbol. You can use your coloring book to trace. If you don't have the coloring book, so just pull out that fidget spinner. You can put that on there, take a marker, go right around it. There you go. You got the destiny symbol. You got your Cade noodle cup. Eat well, Guardians. 1999. That's all it is, right? That's all it's gonna be.
That's it, dude. That's
It's gonna be like Guardian toast.
Guardian toast.
Mix eggs, vanilla, and cinnamon, and fucking throw some bread in there. Warlock toast.
Captain Zavala's freaking country fried steak or whatever,
dude.
like a Titan would eat, you know?
Yeah.
Freaking Warlock lasagna. That's for sure.
That's for sure gonna be in there.
They'll have everything. And it's, dude, it's legit. It's just gonna be, because what food is in Destiny? And like another thing is, it's like the scented candle. They called it spin metal, but it's like spearmint.
It's like spearmint or something, like cinnamon.
So that's what the cookbook's gonna be. You know it. Like it's just gonna be something.
It just
that's
shows you
called like a Destiny name.
When your peripheral to your game is a cookbook in a game that has nothing to do with cooking
with no
or
food. Yeah.
Like seriously, Cade's noodle cup. That's the only thing I can think that is even a reference. Is like that one obscure quest you do to get the noodle cup, and it gives you like a shit engram that's pointless.
Yeah.
Because people were like, we want story in our RPG. They didn't want story.
Dude, they want us. Dude, oh my god, that's another thing.
You don't want a story. If you're playing Destiny, you don't want a story.
There is no story. You fucking, all those people can sit there and say the Taken King fixed the story, the Forsaken fixed the story. It's the same shit every time. House of Wolves fixed the story. Dark Below added more context, so all of a sudden it fixes the story. The story is a jumbled mess, and the only thing they do is they add context to certain characters, which still doesn't make any sense.
They get their influencers, they fly them out, and they go, hey, listen here, buddy. We're going to tell you some things that the original guys wrote down.
Yeah.
You take it out, you make a video about it, you make some money, everybody wins.
Did you bring your app with you? You need to look up your grimoire cards.
It's Souls-like. Because you could argue that the story in Dark Souls is delivered in as much an obscure way as in Destiny.
Right. But the thing about Destiny is, instead of them shattering it and it fitting the game, they shattered it to fit the content that they were releasing. So House of Wolves comes out, all of a sudden it's convenient for us to, hang out on the reef and understand that, one of those things, those Fallen, he's not a bad guy. He's from this House of Wolves clan or whatever the fuck. And that's the thing. There is no understanding it, because at one point it might have been cohesive, but out of that business model, it's just doesn't make sense. It's like them just putting it in the game and being like, it makes sense now. And it's like, no, it doesn't. Like, here's the girl with the Dark Below. It makes no sense.
Okay, well, here's the difference between a game, and I would argue that Destiny 1 was more Souls-like, arguably, than Destiny 2. The second you give me cutscenes like the Cabal Bane, that's just expository bullshit that is out of context with what my player character is doing throughout the game, you blast a hole through my believability that I should take anything in this shit seriously. Because that dude just killed that other dude for telling him to do the thing that he's immediately now going to go do.
There's no question of that dude's motivation.
And how do we know
that
this?
Dude's character.
And that's the thing. Dark Souls, you know what your character sees. You know what your character learns, right? So yes, it's a story that's delivered in a very unconventional and very obscure way. And when you walk in to see Quelaag, the only understanding of Quelaag that you have is perhaps she's one of the witch's daughters that is mentioned in the fucking first of the cutscene. And foregoing reading anything found in the game up to that point, you're just going to be like, oh, it's a sexy chick, spider demon chick, look, half versus, and this must be one of the daughters, right? If you remember that.
Yeah. From
the cutscene, because it's fairly farther along in the game, especially for a first playthrough before you will find Quelaag. So It's a huge difference when in Dark Souls the way it's delivered is in this way where you're seeing information and discovering information as you come across it.
Yes.
When you find fucking,
through the eyes of your character,
when you come across Old Man Logan and you do Old Man Logan's quest line and you do it all the way to the end where he goes hollowed, it's up to you whether or not you paid enough attention and did what you wanted and understood in order to reach that point, for that to have context and understand, oh shit, like this is what's happened. He's given too much of himself into this, and now it's like he's gone hollow.
Yep.
Once you fucking give too much and you die too much and you just it's an analogy for dementia, old age. It's what it is, and it's kind of on the nose with characters like Siegmeyer.
Yeah.
But in order to get that and feel that, which holy fuck, I'm getting teared up thinking about it right now.
Right.
The Ash Lake scene with him and his daughter.
Yeah.
But to get to that point and understand that, you, without following a guide, it would be so insane. And these moments are earned. They feel earned through the blood, sweat, and tears of your character. The vast amount of patience you're going to need to overcome some of these cheap, apparent, like, or surface level cheap,
right.
I should say. Because it's only cheap until you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is life.
Yeah.
Life will fucking sucker punch you in the dick and not give a fuck about it, man. It's up to you the next time it throws that fist to see it coming and get the fuck out of the way.
Yep.
And so, like, that's what Dark Souls is. And to take something like Destiny 2 and have lore specialists in this game where they took shaders, they broke them apart, and they threw them in loot boxes.
Where there's no question of the villains fucking like in Dark Souls, the equivalent of it being like Destiny.
There is no villain in Dark Souls.
No, the equivalent of it would be like Gwyn, and all of a sudden it's just, now here's Gwyn.
Yeah,
and there's no
imagine there's a scene with Gwyn talking to, like, Seath, the Scaleless.
Yeah, and being like...
I'm being like, no, fuck you, Seath, I won't do it. I won't march my men into the kiln and fucking sacrifice ourselves to the fire to feed the world so that you can continue practicing magic.
Yeah, like, when you come...
But then he's like, no, Seath, I will do it, but first I'm gonna kill you for suggesting I do it.
Yeah.
And then he, like, kills Seath, and then Seath comes back and he's like, before you fight him, there's a cutscene with Seath, and he's like, oh, Gwyn thought he could kill me, but I had the Ex Machina of the MacGuffin of Ex Machina. I was safe.
That's another thing about that is it's like Dark Souls, there is questioning the motivations. Like, you beat the game and then you kindle the fire, and you could look at one perspective and being like, that's a bad ending. Yeah. You know, and it's like, it kind of subverts your expectations, where if you do the non-conventional thing, it's actually the good ending, because there's information. Is it good, though? But that's the thing. There's information there that you're obviously not privy to.
Yes, but that's what's so brilliant about it, is it's so...
As opposed to Destiny 2.
I have this wild fan theory that I'm just going to throw out and sum up real quick. You know it already, but I'm just going to throw it out there. I was thinking about doing a video about it, but fuck it, it's probably never going to happen before I die, so I'll just throw it out here to the fucking 15, 20 fucking viewers who stay long enough to, like, want to experience a thoughtful discussion with Jax Chubbz, and we love you for it. That's why I'm giving it to you. This is what a theory I have. If you're someone who doesn't know much about Dark Souls, you probably won't get a lot out of this. If you're someone who does, here's a mind bender for you. So, this happened when I first fucking realized that you get those Guinevere spells off of those creatures, and it says that they belong to, like, her handmaidens,
the handmaidens of Guinevere.
So I was reading that, I was like, what in the fuck? And I'm like, so all of these are, like, people that have been transformed, right? And, like, the snakes are probably the same way. And I'm thinking about when you go to Anor Londo for the first time, and you fought through the snake guys, who are obviously, they're a part of Seath's shit, right? Because Seath has them in his most, like, where he would want to be defended the most. They're overlooking his prison, where he's keeping these creatures that he's transformed. He's keeping Big Hat Logan. Like, this is obviously a place he wants defended. He's keeping you there. Yeah. And he knows what you are. Regardless of the knowledge the player has, Seath has way more knowledge than the player. Now, when you first go to Anor Londo, after fighting through a bunch of these snake men through Sin's fortress, is it Sin's?
Sens.
I'm like, Sen, that's not right. Sen's Fortress. You get to Anor Londo, right? And you look to the right, and there's Anor Londo proper, right? But what's up on the hill? Visually above Anor Londo
is the library.
Yep. That was given to Seath the Scaleless. So this is the information, like, and this is based on lore videos that I've looked up, things that I've looked in the game. The overarching opinion of what the world has happened is that Gwyn and all these people reached a point, and there's also some wars with the demons that's proposed by Hawkshaw. So there's some wars with the demons in Anor Londo going on supposedly as well. And this is also followed by the wars with the dragons, which the only one because Seath the Scaleless, right, turned and taught them how to fucking use lightning to take them out, and that would kill his brethren. So all for sure, 100%, what we know of Seath is that he is deceiving, he is sneaky, and he is hateful. So hateful that he would turn his back on his own kind. All right. Now, what do we know? What else in Anor Londo? Well, we see all the guards that are there that were Gwyn's guards, right?
The knights.
Yes. We see Lady Guinevere, who Gwendolyn calls the mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
We see, and we don't find Gwendolyn unless we attack the fake image of Guinevere.
Mm-hmm.
Which, why is it fake? Where is Guinevere? Well, we find out she fled to escape something, right? And some people assume it's the darkening, right? Like it's the fire burning out, the end of the fire. Yeah. That's what she was running away from. But Seath the Scaleless has her handmaidens, and he has them locked away in this in his dungeon, and he has done experiments on them.
And he's kind of got them being like mindless slaves. Yeah. Because another great thing about Dark Souls is it shows you, it doesn't tell you.
Yeah.
So when you come across these handmaidens, they're like tentacle monsters, but they're only reacting to the alarm being sounded. Of you. Well, they're only being reacted to the alarm being sounded, because if you kill the alarm and you go up to them, they're not doing anything. They're passive until you attack them.
And then they don't even attack you. They act scared and they try to get away from you.
Yeah, so it's almost like they're transformed.
While all the other ones in the cage immediately come at you. Yes. Which would suggest that those are more than likely experimental undead from the undead village. Mm-hmm. Many of these places that we all know, I mean, irregardless of everything else, we know that humanity was set up to be a pawn for the gods.
Yes.
That's a running thing. Like, you are encouraged to do what you do because of the Way of the White, correct? Like, that's what Oscar, he's like, the Way of the White, that shit. So you're encouraged to do that because that's the pilgrimage. You go to the land of the lords, you light the fire. And it's essentially
the same pilgrimage as, like, Gwyn. Because they're saying you have to kindle the fire like he did before you, the Father, the Son. Like, he is this magnificent, all-benevolent figure in the universe.
Yeah, he's like a worship deity.
Yes.
So, like, and you need to go and you've got to get to this point where you've got enough power to where you can rekindle the fire. It's the fire keepers that are, like, tending the fire, and it's slowly draining them in order to keep that bonfire going. That because once... Bitch Boy and his gank squad kill your firekeeper, you can't use the Firelink Shrine fire anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, it's this thing. When I was trailing into it, I was like, okay, well, what about this? And I was like, it probably isn't true, and I probably couldn't find things to back it up, but it's cool that I could argue because of that. Because when you look at Gwendolyn, you see that he has this, like, snakes coming out from under him, which is serpents, which is dragon in nature, right? Because that's like serpents and dragons. They're in the same ballpark in fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
So you have these dragons, and Seath the Scaleless, who would turn on his own kind to gain power. And then visually you have him, when you first see where he is, his lair is up on a hill overlooking
the city of the gods. Yeah.
And you wonder, well, is he the true power in Anor Londo? Did he, knowing the dark was going to come, and knowing that the crystals first made their appearance with the fire, so that's the crystals is where he's getting his ability to do these experiments and use this magic, and if the lights go out, that means the crystals could also go away. What if he tricked Gwen into going with his men into the kiln and burning themselves just for selfish things? And then after that, he staged a coup, put Gwendolyn in charge of this image of Guinevere to maintain power and control so that he could continually do his fucked up magical experiments on the undead.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But that was a cool thought process I had. I was like, what if he like staged a coup? It's in his nature.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know? I mean, if he's gonna fuck over his own kind for power, yeah, why wouldn't he fuck over Gwen? Like, him and Gwen are that close?
And especially because he's a lot like, the whole point of him turning on the dragons is the whole point of their immortality is the scales. And he is Seat the Scaleless, which means he can die. He is mortal.
Yeah, and he had to get his immortality from the piece of the soul he got from Gwen for the trade.
Exactly.
So it's ultimately, he's only ever, anything he's done that we know of has only been for him and his ends and his power.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think and you can't do that in Destiny.
No.
Right? You can't.
You can't.
I mean, you can take these lore bits.
You could, but...
They do it. They do it. You can.
You can.
But it doesn't have the same depth.
It doesn't have
It's not apparent in the gameplay. It's completely community-driven. And at the end of the day, Destiny is a vehicle to sell you loot boxes. Yeah. While Borderlands 3 is a vehicle to entertain you.
Oh, yeah.
And that... You know, you look at all the shit that Borderlands gets, even from the player base. Yeah, I have Guardian ranks anymore. I think this too hard. This is broken. This is buggy. This is on Epic Store. And I get depressed. It makes me depressed.
Oh, yeah.
You got a company doing what, in my way, is the perfect way to be doing things. It's the Monster Hunter way of doing things.
But the only solace I take in all of this is it feels like the American consumer market is really the only place where it feels that way, where it's like...
Oh, no way, man.
No?
This is everywhere, dude.
You think so?
You know what? There is a huge market for this shit.
Because I feel like in other foreign countries and other foreign game industry developers, they're making...
This isn't a regional thing, dude. This is universal. Like, these are tests they've applied to human beings. We're all the same.
Well, yeah,
but no matter how hard.
What I'm saying is, it feels like the foreign market, and not just the foreign consumer market, but the video game industry, like foreign game developers and shit, are actually. It feels like they're enjoying the product that they are making.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They're trying to deliver an experience.
Yeah, and instead of it feeling like...
But there's games that are coming out from, like, I mean, there's Risk of Rain, that's from Europe, or from England. I think those cats, they might be Canadian. I can't remember for 100%.
Right.
But Borderlands and Gearbox is based in America, and Gearbox is the reason Risk of Rain 2 is getting the funds it needs to get going and become what it is, which is amazing and fun. So it's like, I think this is more, it's a, and here's the question I have, is how much involvement did 2K, and how much did Randy offer up in order to keep Borderlands 3 the way it is?
Right.
Because Borderlands 3 right now, you can't buy loot boxes, you can't buy microcurrency. If you want skins, you gotta earn them.
Yeah.
If you want headpieces, you gotta earn them.
If you want loot, I guess you could buy them. I guess.
Yeah, because people are selling guns.
Because people are stupid.
I hate people. Why buy a game to buy a gun from someone? Isn't the fun of getting the gun, earning the gun?
Yeah.
Isn't that what the game's about?
Yeah.
When you get a good gun, it's like, yeah, I got a good gun.
Exactly.
That justifies the last 2 hours I spent farming for a good gun.
I was on the hardest difficulty in the end game at max level, and I killed a really difficult guy, and it dropped something that I really enjoyed using.
That was the point of it.
That's the whole fucking point of the
but
game.
I just want a good gun. So when I play it with my girlfriend's brother, I can look like a badass.
Fucking play it with anybody. so I can be at work and fucking show all my friends on my Destiny app the fucking legendaries that I earned in quotations.
The raid that I ran.
Yeah, that's the thing is fucking... Yeah.
It's fucking depressing, bro.
It really is.
It's fucking depressing. Anyway, Borderlands, Gearbox. I doubt anyone will ever see this from there. But genuinely, if I could talk to you right now, I want to say thank you. For Borderlands, for Battleborn, thank you. Because I'm sincerely grateful that I got to play Battleborn. And I'm really sorry that it went the way it did and that you felt you needed to make the moves with it that you made with it. Because there's so much good epic sauce that's just getting thrown on the fire. And it's sad to me. Mm-hmm. I saw a tweet by someone on the post that it's over. And he said, I wish that you could figure out a way to maintain this game offline or something so we could still get on and play. And I agree. Because it's like Battlefront 2 Classic. I play that all the time. It's fun to jump in there and just kill some shit. And I've been playing these single player matches, private matches with rules that you can set up with bots. So I could do me and one bot versus 5 or 1v5s,
Right.
And I lose those, but it's fun to do. Mm-hmm. See if you can do it. And on what character can you do it the most effective on. And it's fun.
Yeah.
It's a good time. And it's sad to think that this was a game that was made in such a way that it has to maintain connection to a server in order for me as a single player to experience that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad to think that there's a whole community of people who genuinely loved this game, who did put money into your microtransactions because they loved it so much. And they're just getting their entire purchase wiped out. And I'm grateful because I see what Borderlands 3 is. And I see this game that's packed with over 40 hours worth of good content that is not there, that's not prying for my wallet or my time. That's not telling me you can't get any further today. Come back tomorrow. Not telling me you can't get this skin unless you give us money for this currency and buy it that way.
Yeah.
Right? It's not even a fucking straight up purchase. I give you $3, you give me a skin. In the case of Borderlands 2. No, it's you give me $10, I give you X amount of currency, you spend it and you have leftovers so that I can get you to buy more later. Right? It's thank you for moving away from that. Thank you for understanding that you could have a game that's full of juice, full of goodness, just amazing in its imagination, art design, gameplay, fucking character design with how everyone feels on scale with if you're a tall guy like Montana, you feel tall in the world. And if you're a short person like Erendi, you feel short. It's this sort of, I don't know, man. It's good to fucking see that, it's not good to see. It's sad to see that fucking fall because of these things.
Yep.
But
it needed to happen.
The optimistic side of me, who listens to Randy on the Borderlands show, understands that maybe it was that way because 2K wanted it to be that way. Maybe it's a good thing that it failed, because maybe Borderlands 3 would be an entirely different looking game. Because Overwatch 2, by all accounts, is just going to be the equivalent of purchasing a story pack upgrade in the free-to-play PvP version of Battleborn. That's what they're saying. It's a Left 4 Dead-esque experience. It'll probably exactly 100% be what Battleborn's little story missions are.
Right.
And it'll be an upgrade pack that will be a supplemental thing to the Overwatch of the yesteryear.
Right.
And it'll try to spark interest and be that. And that's what they're doing because of the money that Overwatch has made off of skins and random loot boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I can't fault them for that.
Can't.
I can't fault Blizzard for putting exclusive pre-order skins in Warcraft 3 Reforged. A game that never had skins, that didn't need skins.
That's their ham. That's their bacon. Where the fuck do you think they're making that money?
I can't blame them. Can't blame them. I'm not going to blame them.
Nope.
There's a market for it, and that's who I'm going to blame. I'm going to blame the people who are spending billions on random loot boxes. You're the reason.
Yep.
And I'm depressed because of you. So, good job. You win. You win. You're not even here because you're too goddamn dumb to step through 3 minutes of intellectual, thoughtful discussion. So I don't even know why I'm addressing you. Instead, I'm going to address the cool fucking people who are here. Thank you for chilling with us. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for, after all this time, being so nice and just being like, dudes, we miss you. Like, are you going to make another video soon? It's genuinely hard. I hope that that's encapsulated in this. That's why I wanted to do one on Battleborn. Because it's the perfect example of why I'm depressed. Because you see this status quo online that's just the agreed upon thing. And to go counter to that, whether you have a pervasive argument or a thoughtful argument or not,
to have a unique opinion is heresy.
It is. It is. You can't, do it because there's the status quo and that's just the way it is.
There's a lot of middle ground, guys. A lot of middle ground.
That's why I can love Battleborn and hate it all in the same fucking thought.
Yes.
Anyway, I love you guys. Thanks for kicking it. We're working on a Borderlands 3 review. We want to be thorough, but it's going to be a cooperative fan review. We're going to be very open about that because we are lenient in places that people may not be lenient otherwise if they're not a fan of the franchise and of the company. But I mean, the major thing that I'm a fan of right now with Gearbox is the transparency. This game is everything they marketed it as and more. Mm-hmm. The openness with microtransactions and things like that. When Randy and the reveal said, we'll probably do some bonus DLC and campaign and stuff, but we're not going to fucking load it down with microtransactions. You're not going to have skins. Me and Chubbz, I felt confident enough saying that was probably a non-issue. And I was even generous enough to say, if they had skins in it, as long as it's Borderlands 2 size, they sell skins for $2 or $3. I'm not going to care, right? And I wouldn't. If you give me a 40-plus hour fucking RPG campaign with depth that makes me feel intelligent for figuring it out and like a badass when I'm able to like understand what my character's build is and put that into effect and fucking steamroll the hardest difficulty setting in your game because it's working for me, not against me now. You know what I mean? To be difficult.
Yeah.
It's like the difficulty here is whether or not you're playing your character right.
Mm-hmm.
That's 100% what it is. If you're playing your character right, it's not really that challenging unless you crank it up to the new Mayhem 4. But fuck. But I'm grateful for that. That they're doing like these Maliwan takedowns. It's like the Monster Hunter way of doing things. They're doing like the event for Halloween, the Bloody Harvest event that's staying for over a month.
Mm-hmm.
So that everyone has a shot to get the unlocked rewards.
Yep.
And it's not about giving you special loot boxes.
Nope.
That are only here for a limited time. Bye. It's about giving you a twist on the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
Making the whole entire game different for a month to celebrate the Bloody Harvest,
Yep.
And it's that sort of thing that I really appreciate. And thank you, Gearbox. Thank you guys for watching. Fucking love you guys.
Take care, everyone.
I gotta pull back.
Power play. Enemy forces at half strength.